There is a truth most people will never hear, a truth that wealthier people understand deeply, but rarely ever explain out loud. It is not written on billboards, it is not taught in schools, and it is not shouted from stages. Instead, it is kept quietly, almost secretly, in the private corners of their minds, and sometimes even literally inside their wallets, because it anchors their decisions, calms their fears, and shapes the way they walk into the world. The verse they keep isn't just words on paper. It becomes a mindset, a deep-rooted belief, a compass that turns their attention toward possibility instead of limitation. And while some people look at rich individuals and only see money, what they miss is that behind their actions, behind their calmness, behind their confidence, lies a discipline of thought fueled by a scripture, like idea they guard and carry with them every day. The verse is simple in language, but powerful in meaning. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. They keep it because they know wealth does not start in the bank. Wealth begins in the mind. The richest people understand that everything external, your income, your career, your relationships, your business, your results, is a mirror reflecting your internal beliefs, your internal expectations, your internal identity. You cannot outperform your mindset. You cannot rise above the limits you place on yourself. And you cannot experience abundance if you secretly believe you are not worthy of it. That is why rich people keep this verse close. They need constant reminders that thoughts shape reality, that mindset creates outcomes, that belief precedes achievement. This verse becomes both a shield and a sword, guarding them from negativity and empowering them to create their own futures. When someone carries this verse in their wallet, it means something far deeper than physical paper. It means they have trained their mind to think differently. They have chosen to master their emotions instead of being controlled by them. They have committed to thinking in alignment with their goals rather than their fears. Most people let emotions lead the way. Fear leads them. Doubt leads them. Insecurity leads them. But wealthy individuals understand that disciplined thinking builds disciplined results. They don't think like victims. They think like creators. They don't dwell on what could go wrong. They focus on what could go right. They don't rehearse failure in their mind. They rehearse success. Every time they look at that verse, they remember who they must be inside to create the life they want outside. People often assume that success comes from hard work alone, from running faster, grinding longer, pushing harder. But the truth is that millions of people work hard and still remain stuck. Millions push themselves and still struggle. Hard work without the right mindset becomes frustration. Hard work with fear becomes panic. Hard work with doubt becomes hesitation. Hard work with negativity becomes burnout. The wealthy understand that thoughts determine the energy behind effort. Thoughts determine the clarity of decisions. Thoughts determine whether someone sees obstacles as roadblocks or as opportunities to grow sharper. That is why they guard their thinking the way others guard their valuables. Their mind becomes their most important asset. Think about this deeply. When you believe success is possible, your mind automatically begins searching for strategies, for solutions, for people to help you, for opportunities that match your expectation. But when you believe success is impossible, your mind shuts down, your creativity closes, your decisions become small, and your actions follow the limitation you planted. That verse serves as a reminder that identity shapes destiny. If you see yourself as someone capable, resourceful, favored, resilient, and worthy of abundance, you behave in ways that reflect that identity. But if you see yourself as unlucky, unprepared, or unworthy, your behavior follows the same path. Wealthy people protect their inner identity with extreme seriousness because they know that everything they do flows from who they believe they are. The verse also helps them stay calm when life becomes uncertain. Whenever the economy shakes, whenever markets fall, whenever problems arise, most people panic. But wealthy individuals see uncertainty not as the end, but as a beginning. Their thinking stays rooted. Their emotions stay balanced. Their decisions stay clear. They read that verse and remind themselves, I am what I think. If I choose to think stability, I will find stability. If I choose to think abundance, I will walk toward abundance. They know that fear blinds the mind, but faith opens it. Panic closes doors, but belief reveals options. The verse becomes an anchor that keeps them steady when life becomes stormy. There is also a spiritual dimension to this verse that wealthy minds honor. They understand that the universe responds to thought, that the energy you send out is the energy you attract. That belief is a force. They see money not as something magical, but as something that flows toward people who think with clarity, purpose, and boldness. They understand that negative thinking repels opportunities, while positive thinking magnetizes them. So they keep the verse close as a daily reminder that they must think in alignment with the future they desire, not the circumstances they fear. Consider the way rich people approach each morning. When they wake up, they don't begin the day by focusing on problems. They begin by aligning their mind with possibility. They think about what they want to achieve, the kind of person they want to be, the kind of life they want to create. They do not react to life, they design it. They rehearse their goals in their mind. They visualize their success. They speak words that strengthen their spirit. That verse is often the first thing they look at because it resets their thinking, sharpens their awareness, and elevates their expectations. They enter the day with a mindset that supports their ambitions rather than sabotages them. Most people underestimate the power of expectation. Wealthy people do not. They expect success even before they see it. They expect breakthroughs even when results haven't shown up yet. They expect opportunities even while others complain that the world is unfair. And their expectations shape their behavior. People who expect failure move timidly. People who expect success move boldly. That verse reminds them to expect the best, to align their mindset with abundance, to walk with confidence even when the path is unclear. And through that mindset, They attract the very things they expect. You should understand something else. Rich people do not think thoughts of limitation. They don't reuse the same negative messages that others repeat every day. They don't say, "I can't afford it." They say, "How can I afford it?" They don't say, "It's too hard." They say, "It's challenging, but I will find a way." They don't say, "This will never work." They say, "Let me learn what will make it work." Their thoughts are solutions, focused rather than problem-focused. The verse in their wallet reminds them what they think is what they become. If they think creatively, they become resourceful. If they think boldly, they become courageous. If they think positively, they become resilient. And if they think with faith, they become unstoppable. This verse also affects the way wealthy individuals look at failure. While most people fear failure because they think failure defines them, wealthy people understand that failure is nothing more than information. It's feedback. It's a teacher. It's a signal about what to improve, not a verdict on who you are. Because they think differently, they approach failure with curiosity instead of shame. They ask what they can learn, what they can adjust, what new strategy they can apply. Their mindset turns failure from an enemy into an ally. They do not run from failure. They study it. They dissect it. They grow from it. And that growth produces wisdom, resilience, and eventually success. People often wonder why some individuals rise quickly while others stay stuck in the same patterns for years. The answer lies in the verse itself. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Wealthy individuals think thoughts of progress. They think thoughts of discipline. They think thoughts of growth. They think thoughts of abundance. These thoughts influence their actions, disciplined actions, focused actions, consistent actions. Meanwhile, someone who thinks thoughts of limitation takes limited action. Someone who thinks thoughts of fear takes hesitant action. Someone who thinks thoughts of doubt takes inconsistent action. Thinking becomes the seed. Action becomes the fruit. And life becomes the harvest. That verse acts as a compass, not just in business, but in relationships and personal growth. Wealthy individuals choose relationships that nourish their mindset, not relationships that drain it. They seek people who uplift them, challenge them, push them, and sharpen them. They avoid people who plant seeds of fear, negativity, drama, and insecurity. They know the inner circle influences their thinking, so they guard it carefully. They understand that their network becomes part of their thought life. And since thoughts shape identity, they create environments that nurture strength rather than weakness. Wealthy people also use the verse to maintain humility and discipline. It reminds them that thinking positively does not mean thinking arrogantly. It means thinking responsibly. It means being aware that your mind is powerful and must be managed with care. It means being conscious of the words you speak, because your speech reinforces your thoughts. They do not allow gossip, self-pity, or complaints to live in their language, because they know that words influence thinking and thinking influences outcomes. When they look at that verse, they are reminded to speak words that align with their destiny, not their discouragement. Think about the moments when most people give up. Someone tries to start a business and it becomes difficult. Someone tries to better themselves, but their environment discourages them. Someone tries to pursue a goal, but setbacks hit harder than expected. Most people surrender because their thoughts collapse under pressure. Wealthy individuals keep going because their thoughts remain aligned with a bigger vision. That verse in their wallet becomes a whisper that tells them, you are bigger than this problem. You are greater than this moment. You can think your way through this. You can grow your way past this. And because they believe they keep moving, they keep improving, they keep rising. This verse also shapes the way wealthy individuals face risk. They understand that every opportunity includes uncertainty. They know growth requires stepping into the unknown. So instead of letting fear dominate their mind, they train their thoughts to focus on preparation, strategy, and long-term rewards. They think rationally, not reactively. They take calculated risks, not reckless ones. They do not allow fear-based thinking to rob them of opportunity-based decisions. That verse reminds them that their inner world must be stronger than external conditions. It reminds them that bold thinking leads to bold living. Wealthy people also know something that many forget. The mind is like soil. Whatever you plant grows. If you plant fear, fear grows. If you plant doubt, doubt grows. If you plant negativity, negativity grows. But if you plant faith, confidence, courage, and purpose, these qualities grow as well. The verse in their wallet is a constant reminder to plant the right thoughts, to guard the soil of their mind, to reject seeds of doubt and cultivate seeds of strength. They treat their mind like a garden that must be cared for daily, watered with positive words, fertilized with good information, and protected from the weeds of negativity. And while outsiders might see these habits as strange or unnecessary, wealthy individuals know that their thoughts determine their emotions, and their emotions determine the energy they carry. Someone with fearful thoughts walks with nervous energy. Someone with doubt-filled thoughts walks with hesitant energy. Someone with angry thoughts walks with chaotic energy. But someone whose thoughts are aligned with confidence, gratitude, and vision walks with a calm energy that attracts opportunity and respect. That verse shapes not only their decisions, but also the aura they project. The verse also affects the way wealthy individuals view time. They think long-term, not short-term. They understand that great things take time to build. They know that consistency matters more than intensity. They keep the verse close so their mind stays disciplined rather than impatient. They train themselves to think in decades, not just days. They understand that long-term thinking produces long-term wealth. They do not rush success, they grow into it. Their thoughts stay aligned with the future they want, even when the present doesn't match it yet. When wealthy people reflect on their journey, they often credit their mindset more than their circumstances. They talk about how thinking big changed their decision making. They talk about how believing in themselves opened doors. They talk about how shifting their thoughts from fear to faith changed the trajectory of their life. This is why they keep the verse. It is not a superstition. It is a reminder of the psychological, emotional, and spiritual principles that govern success. If you take just one thing from this message, take this. The verse they keep is not for decoration. It is for transformation. It reminds them daily that they must align their thoughts with who they want to become, not who they used to be. It reminds them that they must think courageously even when they feel afraid. It reminds them that they must think abundantly even when circumstances seem limited. It reminds them that they must think with purpose even when life becomes confusing. The verse is a manual for inner mastery. Now imagine if you carried this verse in your wallet, not as a superstition, not as a lucky charm, but as a daily reminder of who you must be from the inside out. Imagine reading it every morning before starting your day. Imagine reading it whenever doubt creeps in. Imagine reading it whenever fear tries to take over. Imagine reading it whenever life becomes overwhelming. Imagine letting the words shape the way you think, speak, and act. Over time, your mindset would transform. Your beliefs would strengthen. Your identity would expand. And your life would begin to reflect the internal shifts you make. Imagine looking at that verse right before making a difficult decision. Instead of acting out of fear, you would act out of clarity. Instead of reacting emotionally, you would respond intentionally. Instead of second-guessing yourself, you would walk with confidence. This is how wealthy individuals think. They use their thoughts to fuel their actions, not sabotage them. They use their mindset as a tool for advancement, not a cage of limitation. That verse becomes a guiding principle. And the truth is, this mindset is available to anyone, rich or not. It is not about money, it is about mastery. It is about understanding that your life moves in the direction of your strongest thoughts. It is about recognizing that abundance begins with belief. It is about learning to discipline the inner world so the outer world aligns with it. Wealthy individuals don't keep this verse because they are rich. They became rich because they kept this verse. If you begin to carry this mindset, everything in your life will begin to shift. You will start noticing opportunities you used to overlook. You will begin taking actions you used to avoid. You will connect with people who match your new energy. You will walk with confidence you never had before. You will rise above circumstances that used to control you. You will break patterns that once held you back. You will begin to think like someone who is capable, someone who is deserving, someone who is ready for more. Your thinking will determine your becoming. Your becoming will determine your outcomes. And your outcomes will determine the life you live. Rich people keep that verse because they understand that everything begins in the mind. Change the mind, and you change the life. Guard the mind, and you protect the future. Expand the mind, and you expand your possibilities. This is the secret they carry quietly, a secret you now know. As you move forward, carry this truth with you. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Not as he wishes, not as he pretends, not as he dreams, but as he truly thinks. Your dominant thoughts become your identity. Your identity becomes your actions. Your actions become your results. And your results become your reality. Wealth begins within. If you choose to carry this verse with you, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, or even physically, let it shape you. Let it sharpen you. Let it strengthen you. Let it remind you of the power within you. Let it guide you toward the life you were created to live. Let it be the quiet secret that transforms everything.